The Milwaukee Bucks championship window is closing, and it's weird to say that because the Bucks have Giannis, who is 25 and one of the best players in basketball, and looks like he's going to be one of the best players to ever play this game. And, they have Chris Middleton, who looks really good. Eric Bledsoe looks really good. And you have Brook Lopez, and you have a good supporting cast around him. Mike Budenholzer is a great head coach, coach of the year, I think a year ago. And, you think, oh, they have time. But there's the problem. Giannis is going to be an unrestricted free agent in a year, which means the Bucks only have him under contract for next season. And they have to change things quickly because, as many of you probably know, the Bucks are down 0-3 in the second round to the Miami Heat. It looks like they might get swept. We'll see what happens. But it's just not looking good for them. And, on paper, this Milwaukee Bucks seems great. Again, Giannis, MVP. Chris Middleton, All-Star. Eric Bledsoe, starting point guard. Brook Lopez, solid starting center that can stretch the floor. George Hill, Kyle Korver, Wesley Matthews, Donte DiVincenzo, Marvin Williams, Pat Connaughton. These are guys that can be good role players. And on paper, that sounds great. But when you look at how it actually turns out, it isn't as appealing. Now, when we look at the team, Chris Middleton is great in the regular season, and oddly enough, he's actually playing well in this series against Miami. 23 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 45, 35, 92 shooting splits. But when you look at him most of the time in the playoffs, he's not good. Let's go watch the Eastern Conference Finals last year. He was horrible. Eric Bledsoe is a solid starting point guard, but he has been underperforming in the playoffs. He doesn't really show up there. Brook Lopez actually has been really good in this series. He has made the most three-pointers on the team in this series as well. And again, while Mike Budenholzer is a great head coach, him failing to adjust is kind of why they weren't in the NBA Finals last year. Because I do think if he adjusted, they would have been in the Finals. But he doesn't adjust, and he's not adjusting in this series, and his rotations are horrible. Especially when you look at the minute distribution on the team. There is no reason as to why Wesley Matthews and Marvin Williams should be playing more minutes than Donte DiVincenzo. There's no reason why Wesley Matthews should be averaging more than 10 minutes per game than Donte DiVincenzo was against the Miami Heat. Same thing goes kind of with Marvin Williams, but he's closer to 4 to 5 minutes more than Donte DiVincenzo. Point is, neither of them should be playing more minutes than Donte DiVincenzo, and both of them are playing more minutes than Donte DiVincenzo. So that's the problem there. Especially Marvin Williams, who's only averaging 3.7 points a game, 21.8 minutes per game. He's shooting 26.7% from the field. Dude really out here just running. And, the rotations Budenholzer has have just been really, really bad. And, that's a problem with him, and he hasn't adjusted. And I think the biggest thing about this is Giannis only averaging 35.7 minutes per game. Now, granted, compared to his regular season minutes per game, that's a lot because it's 5 more minutes than he usually averages. But, in the playoffs, if you're the best player, and, historically guys like Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton, the guys around him struggle in the playoffs, Giannis will be playing more than 35 minutes per game. Now, granted, he does have some foul trouble. He is prone to be in foul trouble a lot, but it still doesn't change the point. He should be averaging more than 35 minutes per game in this series, especially after they went down 2-0 in the series. He should have been playing more than what he was given. His minutes should have been in the 40s if they wanted to win the series. And this might cost them Giannis because, he should be playing more minutes, and he isn't. It's just frustrating to see that he's not playing that many minutes. And again, he isn't playing well in this series. He's averaging 23, 13, and 7, which is good, which is really good. But when you see Giannis get more minutes, you expect him to average more than his regular season, especially when he's getting 5 more minutes than he's supposed to. I think he should be getting more than that even. But it could be worse. He isn't horrible in this series by any stretch of the imagination, but he isn't necessarily that good. And what does that mean for Giannis? It means Giannis might leave because, quite honestly, when you look at the Bucks, they are a great regular season team. Chris Middleton is great in the regular season. Eric Bledsoe is really good in the regular season. Mike Budenholzer is like a coach of the year kind of player in the regular season. But come playoffs, the team around him is not reliable. Chris Middleton is not reliable in the playoffs. Eric Bledsoe is totally not reliable in the playoffs. Mike Budenholzer is not reliable in the playoffs. And the thing is, there are teams around the league where Giannis can find guys that can be reliable in the playoffs. He can go to Toronto, where they have guys who can be reliable in the playoffs. He can go to Miami, where they have guys who can be reliable in the playoffs. He could go to Dallas, where they have a guy, or two guys actually, that can be reliable in the playoffs. So, there are options for him if he leaves. But what do the Bucks need to do to keep Giannis? Well, they have to get him a second star. And the thing is, the market for getting that second star isn't as big as it once was. You know, like a few years ago, remember guys like Jimmy Butler and Paul George were on the market. Now, those guys aren't on the market anymore. They're on established teams that they probably don't want to leave. And we look at the market for them, there's really only two guys. Honestly, I only think one of them is realistically viable for the team. First one being Chris Paul. I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know if Chris Paul actually wants to leave Oklahoma City. I'll be quite honest with you. I think it's possible. I know someone that also makes YouTube videos that I'm friends with kind of alluded that one of his videos was going to be about that. So you can watch his video when it comes out. I think you guys already know who it is. About if you want to hear about like if Chris Paul goes to Milwaukee, what they would have to give up. I think they could give up Bledsoe probably in a Chris Paul deal. I'll leave it at that. But when you look at the guy, and really the only option they have as far as guys that will be on the market, that's Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal would be the perfect second option next to Giannis. Because one, Bradley Beal is an underrated playoff player in my opinion. He doesn't really play bad in the playoffs. He actually is like a 22-point per game scorer in the playoffs. And he's really good, decently efficient in the playoffs as well. And I think he'd be perfect next to Giannis because I think you can trust him more than you can trust Chris Middleton. Because I do think that you can go, have Giannis get in foul trouble or have a bad game, and Bradley Beal can take over that game. I can't say the same about Chris Middleton. I can say that about Bradley Beal. How would they get Bradley Beal? They'd have to give up Chris Middleton. That's the one thing they'd have to do. Now, it would be awesome if they could keep Middleton because I do think Chris Middleton would be the perfect third option behind Giannis and behind Bradley Beal. But you'll have to give him up because I don't think that they'll take on Bledsoe. Now, it's possible because like I think Eric Bledsoe and John Wall are like really good friends because of the Kentucky days, but you know, John Wall might not be on that team much longer either. So we'll see what happens there. But you know, I think trading Chris Middleton for Bradley Beal, something like that would work. Now, would the Wizards take that deal? It depends on if Bradley Beal wants to stay or not. If Bradley Beal wants to stay, I don't think they take the deal. Now, there's a real opportunity Bradley Beal does not want to stay, and they will take a deal of like Bradley Beal for like Chris Middleton. I believe the Bucks hold like the 23rd pick from a different team or something like that. They have a pick in the mid-20s in this year's draft, so I think they would do Chris Middleton, like that mid-20s pick that they have from another team. Maybe you throw in like a Wesley Matthews or something like that for Bradley Beal, maybe some filler to see how the whole cap situation would work. But I think that's something that could happen. Now, if it does happen, that's great because Bradley Beal would be the perfect second guy next to Giannis. Maybe Dante DiVincenzo takes a lead, we'll see about that. If it doesn't happen, they have to do something. They have to get someone some way. And I don't know who that other guy outside of like a Bradley Beal would be. If they want to keep Giannis. Because, again, there are other teams that just look like they're going to be better situations with better coaches and better players that are more reliable around Giannis that he might find more appealing. So the Bucks got to figure it out if they want to reopen this championship window that's closing. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all these things. Trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. At the time of me recording this video, I'm at 383 subscribers. So again, doing all those things help me reach my goals would mean a lot to me. But with that being said, have a nice day. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. It means so much to me, guys. You guys don't understand. But again, thank you. Like and subscribe if you're new. Feel free to leave feedback in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.